Hey everybody, it is Sunday, April 6th. I'm Kerry Shamblin. I've been doing astrology for a long time. I practice Vedic astrology, and by extreme popular demand, I am going to start doing a weekly look ahead. So today is Sunday, and we're going to look at the week ahead. I will start with just doing a general looky, and then I'm going to try to go through each sign and tell you what I think will happen for each sign. So let me know what you think. If this is helpful to you, I'll keep doing it. And if you need more information, you can always come to me directly for a personal session. So let's take a look. You're looking at the charts here. I'm sharing my screen with you. And today is the 6th of April. You can see that I'm looking at the chart of Washington, D.C. I'm an American person. And so I'm going from Washington, D.C. I live in Colorado personally, but it's the country I live in. I'm thinking about giving a reading to the United States pretty soon. It seems like they need it. Anywho, I'm going with a Sunday morning chart here. What you're seeing on the left is the North Indian format of the chart, and on the right is the South Indian format of the chart. You don't have to look at these charts, but I know a lot of you out there geek out like I do, and I'm just going to share my screen and have you look at the things. It gives me a starting point too. So what might pop out at you is the group of planets. If you're looking at the left side there, the first diamond on the top has 5 red guys in there. So the red guys are all signifying planets. We've had a huge stack up of planets here in the sign of Pisces. So going back in time a little bit, last Saturday, the 29th of March, was a big day. I had actually been looking at that date for, I'm not going to lie, about 10 years. It's really intense. Trying to figure out, like 10 years ago, I'm like, wow, I wonder what's going to be going on during that time. It looks really intense. So anyway, here we are. The whole world seems to be somewhat changing up a little bit. So last week, what happened was, if you can look at that glob in this block, we had an eclipse. The sun and the moon joined up. Eclipse happened. That RA thing that you're seeing there is Rahu. That is the north node of the moon, so that's the eclipse point. And we had that eclipse happen with, then hours later, you can see SA up in that box. That is Saturn at 0 degrees 56 minutes. So Saturn then just entered into Pisces on the 29th of March for almost 3 years. So that's setting things up for a new thing. The other thing that happened last week, which I felt positively myself, was Mars. So if you look in over here, I don't know if my mouse shows up on these things, but on the left side, MA and MO, that's Mars and Moon. So Mars is now in the sign of Cancer. And as you can see, it's 1 degree 16. That means Mars just moved. And that was on April 2nd. So Mars had been retrograde, gone to Gemini, went direct. The direct happened on January 21st. And then Mars went into Cancer the other day, April 2nd. Oh no, you know what? I'm lying. That January 21st was Mars, retrograde Mars going back into Gemini. Sorry about that. And then I think it was the 23rd of February where Mars went direct. So now Mars is in Cancer until early June. So that's a couple months of Mars being in a new sign. And as you can see today, the moon is with Mars and the moon is waxing. So next on Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, April 12th, we're going to have a full moon. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click us through, oops, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to click us through day by day here, and we're going to just check out the moon as it waxes. So today Mars is with moon. Moon in general in our charts and in the sky, it really reflects feelings and emotions and how people experience what is happening to them. So as generally when the moon is with other planets, it feels a little bit more confusing, intense, etc. So today we've got Moon and Mars together. The moon is actually probably settling Mars down today. So there's that. But this whole next week, as the moon moves through the signs, it's generally alone. There's that K2 down there in the lower right corner, or in the lower triangle or diamond that you can see there. The K2 is the south node of the moon. So that's the only planet that moon will encounter this week as it moves through. So I'm just going to click us day by day. Today's Sunday. All right, so we're going to click up ahead a day. As you can see, not much changes on Monday. The moon still is in Cancer, waxing. And generally, remember, moon is stronger in its bright half and as it's waxing. So every night you're going to see the moon get a little brighter for us as we go through the week. So moon in Cancer on Monday, and then Tuesday. And as you can see in my dates there on the bottom, I'm just going 24-hour clicks. And you're at 7 o'clock a.m. each day in Washington, D.C. So the rising sign, as you can see up there, is Aries on Monday. Wherever you are in the world, the planets will all be arranged with each other in the same way, but the time and place is going to change the rising sign. So just kind of ignore the rising sign as I'm going through these things. So yeah, not much changed on Monday, but actually, if you look closely, you'll see that I'm going to take you back a day. Okay, so Monday. The beginning of the day on Monday, look at the upper left corner of the right block where all of those planets are. ME is Mercury. Mercury has been retrograde since mid-March, March 15th. And you can also see that VE has an underline there. The underline means retrograde. So Venus and Mercury have been retrograde together. And look how close the degrees are. Venus is at 1 degree, 3 minutes. Mercury is at 2 degrees, 37 minutes, and this is Monday. So they've been like retrograde with each other together. And they're somewhat squished between Saturn and Rahu at the moment, which is interesting. So watch what happens when I click us to Tuesday morning. The underlined under Mercury goes away. So Mercury is going direct on Monday, the 7th. That's tomorrow. So that should do some things. Now, when Mercury is retrograde, or any planet is retrograde, it's giving us a wild card energy. We're not really sure how to take that energy. Mercury generally gives us communication, exchanges, analysis. When Mercury goes retrograde, it's almost as if Mercury's on hyperdrive, like a child who's eaten a little too much sugar, and we can miscommunicate, we can misrepresent, things can get confusing. It's not really the best time to make serious long-term plans or commitments. So when Mercury goes direct, yay. But let's recognize, too, that in this case, Venus is still retrograde and right with Mercury. And in general, we want to give Mercury a little time to calm down and get back going. So what I'm saying is, even though Mercury's going direct tomorrow on Monday the 7th, it may not be the time to just, go for making your big long-term commitments and plans. So whatever that's worth. All right, so that's what happens on Monday. Mercury goes direct. That's kind of could be positive. And then on Tuesday, you're going to see that the Mars moon has moved away into Leo on Monday. We're at 16 degrees here on Wednesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, moon in Leo. Moon is waxing. I'm going to click us forward until this is Thursday. The moon at 28 degrees. Leo is going to be moving into Virgo on Thursday. And then on Friday, the moon is solidly moving through K2's realm. And what this also does brings us to Virgo. Okay, Virgo right now is getting a lot of energy. Even though K2 is the only planet sitting in there right now, we have a lot of aspects coming into Virgo. Aspects means the other planets projecting or looking at a sign. So if you look all up here in this corner, all those 5 planets are pushing they're gazing over straight across the pond to the moon and K2 combination and Virgo. So even though we're looking at like, oh, all these Pisces planets, well, Virgo's getting the attention of every single one of those planets. And our friend Jupiter over here is also looking at Virgo. So when the moon moves into Virgo, it's also getting the attention of 6 other planets, as well as sitting with K2. So we're talking about Thursday afternoon, evening into Friday and Saturday of this upcoming week. Could feel a little more intense because of the moon being in Virgo with K2 and all of those other planets. So as you can see, the moon doesn't move that far through the zodiac per day or week. So this is Saturday. This brings us to the end of this week, April 12th. Okay, so this is 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. What happens later that day is Venus will go direct and the moon will become full. We have a full moon later this day. Let me try to get us to the full moon chart here. I'm just going to move us ahead by some hours here and just see if we can get it a little closer. With the sun at 28 degrees 45 in this particular chart, we just want to get the moon up there. So the sun just moved to 29. And okay, roughly we're here. I mean, this is a little past the moment of the full moon. But as you can see, the sun and moon opposite is what gives us full moon. And we've just gone through a couple of eclipses back in March. The eclipse cycles happen when the sun and moon align with Rahu and Ketu. Those are Ra and Ke in the picture there, which are the nodes of the moon, the eclipse causers. So when the sun and moon align with them and each other, we get eclipses. So as you can see, the sun at 29 degrees and Rahu at 3 degrees 8, they're not very close. So we're not getting an actual physical eclipse here, even though they're all in the same sign. So this is our full moon of April 12th. As you can see, it's at the very last degree of Virgo, and the sun is at the very last degree of Pisces. And as I mentioned in my monthly forecast, we've had like 6 months of the full moon being on this brink degree, like at the very last degree. So we have a full moon, then the moon changes sign, and then the sun changes sign. That's been like 6 months. It's very, it feels very unstable to me, honestly. And as this will be the last one of that series of unstable full moons. So they start stabilizing after this one. So what happens here is this full moon goes full. You can still see that we've got the underline under Venus still. We're at 9 o'clock at night in Washington, D.C., so it should be a beautiful night there. 2 more hours in the future, Venus has gone direct. Okay, so this is the end of this week. That Saturday is capped off with a full moon and then Venus going direct. So that seems like a lot in this week. And also you'll see that as soon as Venus goes direct, we've got the moon has moved into Libra, and we're in our next week. So all of that said, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going back to today. Oh no, I'm going by hours. Hold on. I wanted to just try to, this is something everybody always requests, is can you do something for each sign? So I'm gonna give it a go. And see what we get. Okay. Because when I do my monthly forecasts, they're pretty long and verbose and geeky. And then I get a lot of people going, but what about me? And I don't know what it means for me. So here's my shot at you all for a little bit. I'm going to start with Aries. Okay, the sign of Aries. It is the first zodiac sign. So if you have Aries rising, or if you have Aries moon, or if you have Aries sun, and that's often a question I get from people. What am I? Am I my moon sign, my sun sign, or my rising sign? And the answer is yes, you are all of those things. So it depends on what you really connect with and what's stronger in your chart. Again, if I work with you one-on-one, I'll have a better answer for you. But for now, let's just start with Aries and what's going on for the sign of Aries, whether you have sun, moon, or 10 planets there or whatever. 10 planets is impossible. That was a joke. Okay, so Aries people, that big glob in Pisces has been going on in your 12th house. 12th house means loss and liberation. So you all are under the gun in a way to figure out what's next and get ready for forward movement. Next Sunday, the sun moves into Aries. So next Sunday, we're going to talk about go time. This week is about figuring out what you got to cut bait on and what you got to bring forward. We have all got this Saturn-Rahu combination going on. You can look in the upper left corner here. SA and RA are very close, and they're about to switch places. Like Saturn has come in, and Rahu's going to be leaving. So this next 5 weeks is actually a very intense time, wherein all of us are looking at what to leave behind and what to bring forward. Because in general, Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So Aries people, you Aries people, are very archetypal and represent many of us. So especially with the Aries people, you might be dealing with letting go, selling, breaking up, a lot of what do you need to get out? But don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. You've got to figure out what are the good pieces to keep in your hand as you walk forward. Okay. The moon and Mars for you Aries people. Mars is especially important for Aries. Mars has gone to your 4th house. It has moved from your 3rd to your 4th. This is also supporting you with forward movement. It's supporting you with things about properties and houses and moms. And with Mars sitting in Cancer, it is now aspecting your 7th house for the next 2 months. So this could signal a lot. This could signal work at home, like remodeling or moving house or buying house. But it could also affect relationships. It's like, with who am I doing these things? Maybe the work is to be done in the relationships, not actually in a house. So think about that. Where Jupiter is still helping you with the things about work and money and jobs and things like that. So if there has been an instability in that realm, where Jupiter is now for the next 6 months, 6 weeks, because Jupiter moves May 14th. This is about, on one hand, I'm letting go of all of these things. On the other hand, I'm having to realize that I need these resources for something, and I want them to go in a positive direction. So those things might be on your mind. Okay, there you go, Aries. Good luck. Taurus, second sign of the zodiac. That glob of planets is in your 11th house. The 11th house has to do with long-term gains. It has to do with friends, groups, like colleagues, bands, my team that I'm in, my long-term investments, income that I might get from things I've worked on for a long time. So Taurus people, you're ruled by Venus. Venus is one of those planets in that group. So this might even feel a lot like, with Venus being retrograde through this week, if it feels like you're losing friends, or a friend has become an enemy, or I feel like I need to jump ship on this group, or I need to find a new group, That could be why. Jupiter is still in your first house, Taurus. That is positive. It's going to help you find your direction. The last 4 or 5 months has been pretty confusing. There's been a lot that's been confusing. But I also want to point out that for Taurus, they're especially what's available to you right now is an exchange of signs, which makes 2 planets very strong. You've got an exchange of signs between Jupiter and Venus here. They're in each other's sign. And so especially that feeling of, I'm not sure if these are my people. I'm not sure if I can trust this person. What do I need to change with how I'm relating? What's standing in the way of my relationship growth, for example? These are themes that might really come up this week. But having this Jupiter in your first house, you've got it for another 5 weeks or so, it should help you regain direction. So with all of the analysis and shuffling that's happening in Pisces, that Jupiter is going to help you see which way you need to go still. And Mars being in your third house for the next couple months could feel like you finally have the strength and power to get going. I wouldn't go really fast. But it may be time to start taking steps. Taurus people, you can be a little slow moving and set in your ways. And no insults. But so Mars going into Cancer could help you push through and take some steps that you really need to make. Okay. Geminis, you guys need to get ready for just such the big time right now. That glob of planets in Pisces is your 10th house. 10th house is work and career. Rahu and Saturn are the co-rulers of the sign of Aquarius. And for Gemini, Aquarius is your 9th house, which is the purpose. What am I here for? What is my big heart feeling work in the world? What is my purpose? Why am I here? So Gemini, Rahu, and Saturn rule that house for you, and they are now joined up in your 10th house of work. So it's kind of the clue here is you're getting a really big year ahead, and things are shuffling right now. So if it feels like, oh wow, something's going to happen in my job or a project that I'm starting to launch or something like that, and it feels like you feel a little anxiety about it, that would be why. Because how things are all shifting with the big outer planet shift. Saturn has moved into Pisces. Rahu will be moving out of Pisces and into Aquarius. Mars has moved off of your head, Gemini, and Jupiter will be moving onto your head in May. So Gemini, especially, you're really coming up with some big dynamic changes that have a lot to do with work and purpose. So get ready. Get ready now. And Jupiter being in your 12th house this whole past year has probably been a mixed feeling of some of my work is working, some of my relationships are working, but some of them aren't. And we're going to have to figure out what to let go of. So especially with that Venus retrograde for the last week here, you might find yourselves really making some hard decisions about, you know what, I really like that idea, but it's going to cost me too much. So I'm going to let that go. Maybe shelve it. It might not be the time for that one thing. So anyway, that's what's going on with you, Gemini. Cancer people, you've got Mars now. Mars has come to roost for a couple of months. Mars for Cancer is a really strong and important planet. From Cancer, Mars is the ruler of the 5th house of creative issue, like children or books or songs or whatever you paintings. And it's also the ruler of the 10th house of work and career. So Mars is kind of very powerful for Cancers. But ironically, when it gets to Cancer, it's debilitated, meaning it has a hard time functioning. My opinion is Mars is really black and white. Mars is a power-driven planet. There's strategy and protection come under Mars's job, and Cancer is a very emotional sign. So in a way, I think it's like Mars has hard jobs to do, and Cancer is an emotional environment, and so it's sometimes hard to get it done when we're dealing with trying to be sensitive to somebody's feelings, etc. So Mars is going to be in Cancer for a couple of months for you people. So it might be a feeling of re-plugging into some of the things that were important prior. But since Mars has been retrograde and in Gemini, they might have fallen off for whatever reason, like health or busyness or unexpected issues. So it's kind of like time to regroup for the Cancer people. Because the other thing is that glob of planets is in your 9th house. They're saying, hey, you do have a big purpose here, and I think you've lost your way. So reorganize yourself, figure out what that purpose is, make the changes you need to make, because it's go time is coming. Even the sun moving to Aries next week, the Cancer people are going to feel that too. They're going to feel like, okay, it's time to get back to work, get some money in my pocket. Okay, so there you go, Cancer. Leo people. Okay, I'm just not going to mince words. It's been hard on you people for a long time, Leo, because Saturn has been transiting through your 7th house of relationships for a couple of years until last week. And Saturn is a challenging energy for Leo. So it's been a little bit rough for the sign of Leo, in my opinion, for a while. So a little bit of a break in the sense that Saturn has now moved out of Aquarius and is not on your head anymore. But now that big of glob of planets is in the 8th house for Leo. 8th house has to do with a lot of deep changes. And, I'm already talking about letting go of this and keeping that, and Pisces being the last sign and a transitional thing. So it might feel that way big time for the Leos among us, like, especially when it comes to relationships or partners. There might be fear of maybe there's an illness with the partner, or just such deep changes wherein maybe there's been revelations about commitment or desires that the partner hasn't shared and now they're being shared, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of changes coming ahead for Leo that possibly might feel a little more resolved when the sun actually moves, because Leo is ruled by the sun. So when the sun moves to Aries next Sunday, on the 13th, it could be that the Leos start feeling a little more clear as well. Now, Jupiter has been in the 10th house for Leo since last May of 2024. We have 5 more weeks-ish of Jupiter in that position. So one of the things that could have been a major consideration in this last year for Leo is work and jobs. So with Jupiter still reigning in their 10th house, it could feel like that is a major source of thought. Like, what direction is my job going? What kind of changes am I going to have to deal with? Is there something new I need to create for my work? So think about those things, Leo. Virgo. I've already mentioned that, yes, all eyes are on you for the most part. Virgo is the earth sign ruled by Mercury. We have had K2 transiting through Virgo since November of 2023. K2 in a sign can feel like a full stop sometimes, or like a big obstacle or barrier in front of your path. So Virgo people, if you have been feeling like life is a problem to be solved for the last year, that's why. If it feels like you're not sure why things aren't going forward, that's why. But you have just a little tiny bit more time with this. So again, Virgo, whether or not this has been a comfortable year and a half, you're going to feel a shift coming up. Got about 5-6 more weeks until the nodes move. So you may be feeling like a lot of energy in the relationship realm. That glob of planets is all in your 7th house, which is the other people in your life. So relationships. And Jupiter is transiting through your 9th house, which is actually giving you good guidance. But the problem is with Ketu in your 1st house, you can feel a little blinded. Like yes, somebody's guiding you, but I can't see the road. So I hear your voice, but I can't see where to go. Like that could be how it feels. So hang in there, Virgo people. You do have a lot coming your way, and the best I can say is use your sharp analytical abilities. Don't get too emotional, and start making your strategies for what you're going to do when you see the road, which is going to come pretty soon. All right, Libra. Libra people, you are ruled by Venus, one of the retrograde planets, and through this week, it's the last week. And that glob is happening in your 6th house. So the 6th house is a challenging house in the chart. So you may be facing 6th house, I think of as health issues, and also habits, good and bad. You can have a good habit of going to the gym, and you can have a bad habit of going to drink four drinks after the gym. Like both of them are connected, and one of them's good and one of them's maybe not so good. But anyway, that's the 6th house. So health, service, jobs, right? So all of these things are 6th house matters. So Libra guys, you might be dealing with unstable work situations, unstable health situations, and it likely could have felt very scary, because Jupiter even is transiting your 8th house. So I'm talking about Leo's having a hard time. Libra, you're struggling a little too. And now that Mars is in Cancer, it's also aspecting Libra. So it could feel like you might not be able to take much more, but also know that Venus is going direct, and Mars might feel uncomfortable, but it could push you a little bit in the right direction. So do not isolate yourself, Libra people. Please reach out to other people. You need support. You need other folks. So don't isolate, please. Okay, Scorpio. Scorpio is getting all of this glob energy in their 5th house. So if you're a Scorpio who is a creative person, or a Scorpio who's a parent, the 5th house is kids, and it's creative issue. It's things you're working on. It's also fun and entertainment and friends. So it could be that even the Scorpios amongst us are having their own form of weird social week. The Scorpio is a water sign, Pisces is a water sign, and Cancer is a water sign. So Moon and Mars, like today, are in Cancer. Mars will stay there. All of those other planets are going to be swimming around in Pisces the rest of the week. So Scorpio people, honestly, it might be a really good time to regain your direction, if that makes sense. If you have been knocked off your path or confused, Mars going to Cancer could actually be helpful. And all of those planets in Pisces could actually be inspiring. And with Venus and Mercury both retrograde, Mercury's going direct tomorrow, but it could still feel like you don't really have to put anything out this week. Just keep working behind the scenes. Take your time, meditate on things, go deep, etc. This is also the last 5 weeks of Jupiter being in the 7th house for Scorpio. So if there are relationship lessons that you've been working on, you have a little bit more time in that classroom, but not forever. So really take seriously in the next month the things that come out about relationship. So, all right, Scorpios, good luck. Sagittarius, out of any of the signs, Sagittarius is getting one aspect right now, one planetary aspect, and it's from Saturn, who's just barely made it to Pisces. So last month I would have said, oh yeah, Sagittarius, nobody's looking, you could just do whatever. Mars was looking, but anyway, sometimes not having anybody looking at you feels pretty freeing. So Sagittarius people, Jupiter is your ruler. Jupiter is in the 6th house. And we've got another 5 weeks of that, and then it's moving to your 7th house. So this is a really, I would say this is a really good time to get your house in order, literally your home in order. That glob of planets in Pisces is transiting the 4th house from Sagittarius. So remodeling, getting financing for a home, buying a home, consolidating debt that has to do with mortgages. I mean, all of these things could be part of the story. K2 is still in the 10th house of Sagittarius. Now, K2 can be an obstacle or a blockage. I've actually known personally some Sagittariuses recently that have gotten job upgrades. So it doesn't mean you're going to get fired or lose your job or anything like that, but it can mean that unexpected, sudden things can happen with your work, with K2 there for the next 5 weeks or 6 weeks too. So I would keep your eyes open, Sagittarius people, for work and job related opportunities, and at home, getting the remodels, getting financing, like I mentioned, all of that. And then Mars is in your 8th house this week, Sagittarius people, and aspecting your 11th, aspecting your 2nd. That makes me think this next couple months with Mars in Cancer, even though Mars is debilitated in Cancer and we don't love that, it could show a change in spending or investments. So yeah, keep your eyes open, Sagittarius people. Opportunities could come. And Capricorns, you are Saturn-ruled people. Saturn has just shifted. So the next 2 signs, Capricorn and Aquarius, are Saturn-ruled signs. And the fact that Saturn has just moved into a new spot could signal that for Capricorn people, with Saturn moving from your 2nd house to your 3rd house, that you're going to feel a shift in maybe it's going to feel like, oh wow, I actually have a little more time now. I'm not as focused on financial security. For the next few years, there might be more of a focus on increasing your skills or getting creative and creating a new business or something like that. A Capricorn people, you're always working anyway. so it just you might see a shift in your work. You also might see a shift in finances, feeling a little less restricted and a little more flowing. So hopefully that's true for you if that's been a thing. What else for you? Oh, okay, Capricorn. Mars is in your 7th house. We should mention that. So when Mars is in the 7th house of relationships, sometimes it can feel like contention in relationships. This is a frustrated Mars. He's debilitated in Cancer. He doesn't like the emotions. So Capricorn folks, you might be either feeling emotional or dealing with a frustrated emotional person. But this is also a time where we can have Mars being forced into becoming vulnerable and dealing with the feelings and not just riding forth into battle. So for whatever that's worth, Capricorn people, you might be, I'm not saying you're going to have bad relationships, but it might be deep and it might be emotional and it might be a little work feeling. Like we're really doing the work on our emotions. So may the force be with you, Capricorn. You still do have Jupiter in the 5th house for the next 5 weeks. So that helps you keep on track too. It has been a confusing read for the last few months about which way do we all go. And that is clearing up. So maybe that'll help you too. And then Aquarius. Aquarius ruled by Saturn and Rahu. There's 2 rulers of Aquarius. And Saturn and Rahu are the 2 planets that are doing that interesting, well, right now they're together. So, hey, Aquarius, Saturn and Rahu are in your 2nd house right now, which might make you feel like so the 2nd house has to do with family and finances and support, and that's where all these planets are. And Saturn and Rahu being the rulers of Aquarius could make Aquarius people feel like, wow, I would like to invest in myself. I would like to create my own wealth. I would like to have me be the center of whatever I think of as family. Just a few little thoughts. If finances are unstable at this point for you, Aquarius people, it makes sense. Why? With Rahu having just spent the last, since November of 2023 in your 2nd house, Saturn going into Pisces actually might start stabilizing things for you. And then what we're going to have is Rahu coming into Aquarius. So, yeah, the Aquarius and Pisces among us are really, really being affected by the move of these outer planets, with Saturn leaving Aquarius and moving to Pisces. So Pisces getting Saturn, and Aquarius will be getting Rahu, which is going to be exciting, I think. So Aquarians, the other thing is Jupiter is there in your 4th house for another little while. If home is what you're looking for and family is what you're looking for and teams and groups are what you're looking for, keep looking. This next 5 weeks, you might be really feeling like, God, I want to stabilize my home. I want to find a place where I belong. That might be part of the story right now. Aquarius, Mars is also transiting your 6th house of work and service and health. So when Mars is in our 6th house, it can be positive and negative. Okay, so Mars tends to be protective and resource oriented. So in a 6th house situation, Mars can be disciplined, like keep on your routine, go to the gym, do all those things. So that's not bad at all. But Mars in the 6th house, when frustrated, when maybe acting out, and this is a frustrated Mars, can cause accidents. He can cause rash behavior. So Aquarius people, slow down. Try to keep calm. Don't run into the corner of a table because you're mad. That's all I have to say. That bruise is going to be there and it's going to be your fault because you were mad. So just watch out for, just protect yourself from yourself and slow down. Okay. Thank you. All right. Pisces. final sign, the zodiac, and this is where the glob is for you people. You've had, okay, here's how it's been for Pisces. Since November of 2023, Rahu entered to Pisces. And then we've had, life go on. And then suddenly we've got Mercury and Venus entering, and the sun. So suddenly there's a full house that's been in Pisces for, a month plus. And then last Saturday, Saturn joined in. So that's going to be the new normal for Pisces, is Saturn is there until February of 2028. It's a slow-moving planet. And then Rahu will be leaving. So lots of changes for Pisces. And with Venus and Mercury retrograde, and Mercury going direct tomorrow, Venus going direct on Saturday. If Pisces people have been working on things or trying to figure out which direction to go, or getting their studio cleaned up and ready, it's going to be, I think, the time of not knowing or confusion isn't always going to be here, and you're going to become more and more and more clear as 2025 goes on. And especially Venus going direct in Pisces, I'm excited about, because Venus is exalted in Pisces. Venus does its best work in Pisces. Venus is relationships and creation and love and unconditional empathy and beauty. So with Venus regaining that direct motion in Pisces, I feel like if you've been a mess, Pisces, for the last month or so, it makes sense. But it's time to start, picking up the piles of clothes off your floor and getting back to real life, because it's going to happen. So anyway, all right, that is my 12, my quick week ahead. I don't know how long that was, probably forever and ever. But let me know in your comments if you like this or not. If this is useful and helpful for people, I will continue to make these videos, and I'll do them on Sundays. Okay, so let me know. All right, have a good day. Bye.